Just stay away. Just stay away. He's right there. He's throwing Molotov cocktails right there.
So this is video from the targeted anti-Semitic attack Sunday in Boulder, Colorado. Mohammed Sabri Soliman, who you see right there, who's shirtless, now in custody and accused of tossing Molotov cocktails at a crowd of peaceful protesters supporting Israel. Authorities are now charging Soliman with a federal hate crime, and the suspect also faces charges of first-degree murder. So here to explain why those charges are being made, even though none of the 8 victims have died. Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Clive Rhodes. Very important here because being charged with murder, but then you don't have anybody who died. Let's first start off there.
I am confused. Let me say that. I looked at this and I was like, well, maybe the outlets got this wrong. Maybe the sheriff's department and the police department got it wrong. But they did say that no one has passed away. So it took me to law school and I thought about a couple of things there. First of all, this is an extremely unfortunate situation. You don't want anybody going out and trying to, participate in a lawful protest and having anything violent to happen to them. But it takes me to a case in law school where you talk about something called felony murder, where I may go into a place to rob it. I don't go in there. I don't kill anyone. But in the course of the action, someone dies. And then because that person died, I myself could still be charged with murder. That's the only time you can see a situation where the individual doesn't kill someone, but then is ultimately charged with murder. But in first-degree murder, I looked in Colorado statute, it says the willful, intentional, that premeditated portion you need in the killing of a person. And so you would think that we're maybe missing something, that maybe someone else has passed away, or as we mentioned in the process, maybe he didn't kill someone there, but someone has passed away connected to this. Then there could be the felony murder there. That's the only assumptions that I could make, because that's the only way you get a first-degree murder. Now, you can get first-degree attempted murder, but they didn't say that. It definitely says first-degree murder, which has made me confused, and I had to look at the statute a number of times to make sure I wasn't missing it.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was interesting at the news conference that they had yesterday in Boulder, Colorado. One of the first questions were, what are the charges? So there's state charges and federal charges. Can you explain that?
Well, first of all, you're going to start with the state charges, and you're going to have those attempted murder, in this case, the murder, but then you're going to have those federal charges, and these are the hate charges that would likely come when a person has admitted that I wanted to kill all the Zionists, as he mentioned there. Well, when you're talking about Zionists, you're talking about folks that believe in having the free Islamic state, right? And so, Jewish state. And so because you make that statement, you would believe that the evidence would be there for some type of hate crime. That's a crime based on race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender, any of those categories put you on a hate crime. And you got to remember, this comes from the civil rights era, the 1960s, when they were trying to figure out how you can get crimes and stop crimes against African Americans that were trying to get rights in this country. Well, at that time, they thought local governments were the best way to handle hate crimes. But then when we passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964, it was like, okay, we're going to allow the federal government to come in here and not only allow them to be charged on the state level, but be charged on the federal level, to give that added emphasis to ensure that accountability and deterrence was going to be placed on that. And so you'll have, in the same situation, 2 separate tracks. You'll have the state track and you'll have the federal track, but those federal crimes will typically carry a heavier sentence.
Okay, so we saw the suspect there shirtless, obviously throwing exactly what witnesses are saying, these Molotov cocktails. Is this case going to be hard to prove?
I don't think so. I mean, oftentimes when I have a person come to me as a criminal defense attorney, the very first thing I'm going to ask them is, did you talk to the officers, right? Did you make any statements? Did you make any confessions? Those types of things are going to be the hardest thing that I can try to defend. I can defend any other type of circumstantial evidence, but it's really hard for me to defend your own words.
Right.
And so if you made statements that I went on the internet and found this on YouTube, and I went out and bought the devices, and I bought the materials that I needed to create.
And he said it took him a year to plan this.
Right. And then you talked about the premeditated portion. I planned it for an entire year. I mean, he laid out the entire elements for the crime. And so would it be hard to defend that? Yes, but oftentimes defense is multiple facets. It's not just defending in terms of getting a not guilty. Sometimes I'm defending and mitigating your sentence. And so can I find some type of mental health issues that this man may be suffering from? Can I find a defense that puts him outside the presumptive range, puts him in the mitigated range, and then lowers the sentence from this person going to prison? Instead of going to prison for 20 to 30 years, maybe it's 15 to 20 years. Those are some of the things that you're doing when you're attempting to figure out how you defend a case like this, when it's given to you and it does seem like it's a slam dunk for the prosecution.
Yeah. Clive Rhodes, we appreciate your insight.